Hello again, everyone. I'm Yao with Elder Services of Worcester, and today is Class 2. Let me grab my one here. So, Class 2, and this is going to be apps and some general features of apps and app usage on the phone. So last week we talked about the phone in general, like the very basics, and I think I actually have a handout in my bag, so I can hand that to you after. But we talked about the basic overview of phones, talked about how to get into the settings, within the settings, finding accessibility, finding notification adjustments, finding where to connect your devices. And so today we're just going to be looking through different apps. That way, you'll get an idea of what your phone can do for you. Because as I mentioned in the first class, you know, the thing you need to know about your phone is what it's capable of doing, not everything about it. You know, because not every function of the phone will actually pertain to what you would like to accomplish. So start off with the apps overview. Then there's a slide about the cloud that I threw in there just because we talked about it briefly last week, but I wanted to give an in-depth explanation a little bit. That way it becomes a little bit more familiar. My hope is that you'll get a firm understanding after that explanation. Then we'll go into universal app tropes, and then we'll talk about some useful apps. So typical features in the apps is to be the first area in the handout. The typical features, we have a menu button, which provides a list of available options within an app, which typically looks like this. Sometimes it could look different. Sometimes it could just be 3 dots or three circles. This is your go-to for any sort of function that you need to access within the app. So logging into your account if the app requires a login, changing the settings, maybe the sound is too loud on a game that you're playing, you can mute the sound from the menu button if you see it there. So it's always good to try to find where this is if you're having any trouble with an aspect of the application. You'll find the menu button will have a lot of the solutions underneath it. And then the same case with the settings button. It contains all of the accessible configurations of the app and also typically includes security features. So, any questions on that?
Can you tell us more about typically include security features means what?
Yeah, actually, I think our next slide. Right?
You want to cover it then?
Yeah, in a couple slides I will be. But I can do a brief view of it. Like so, security features like anything pertaining to an account. That's mainly where security would be an issue. If you have to create an account for the app, then things like two-step authentication, which we'll cover in next week's class, which is basically confirming your identity twice. You confirm it once by logging into your account, but then the second time they may ask you to verify a code to your email or to your text message. That's the second authentication. So features like that you'll find for security. You'll find like if you have to change your password or reset it, that'll also be there. So anything pertaining to like your login information would be like a security feature. So how to download apps. It will depend on what type of device you have. For Androids, you'll typically download apps through the Play Store. Some Samsung phones, you'll be able to download it through the Samsung Galaxy Store as well. For iPhones, you'll mainly download apps through the Apple Store. But outside of these features, except for like maybe an LG might have an LG Play Store or like model-specific store, you shouldn't download apps anywhere else. There shouldn't be, like, you shouldn't be on, let's say, Google Chrome or Safari, and then, there's a link saying to download this app for whatever reason. You shouldn't click that. or go into it. These are vetted by the respective carriers or respective manufacturers. So every app that goes through there, they're checked for viruses. They're checked for any harmful or malicious bugs or anything like that. That way you know that when you go to download it, you won't be infected with anything that'll harm your device. That doesn't mean though that every app that's on there is from whichever manufacturer too. 99.99% of apps that are within these stores are made by a third party. For instance, Facebook is by the Meta company. Google is by Google Ping. So if you use Google Voice, that'll be from Google. It won't be from Apple, if that makes sense. So any questions on downloading apps? And you can check too, if you want to check your phone, like to see which store that you have, or if you already know, that's also good too. But if you have an Android, more than likely you'll be going through the Play Store. If you have an Apple phone, you'll be going through the App Store.
And it can't be both. Try to go to the place where it won't work.
No, it won't. It's a completely different. Like if you're creating an app for either one, it's a different process. It's kind of like for a Windows computer and a Mac computer, you can't download the same files on there. They have to be specific versions. It's the same thing with these two phones. So I was mentioning before a little bit about security features. One that you'll see often when downloading apps that require you to sign in are automatic sign-in buttons. So they're third-party sign-in buttons that allow you to sign into apps without having to create a password. I would suggest whenever possible using this feature. It's very safe because you're not providing any more access for anybody else to to take your information. By using Google sign-in or Apple sign-in, you're signing in based on the account that's on your phone. In Apple's case is your Apple ID when you sign in. You're using that. Google's case, you have to use a Google account for an Android phone. When you're using an app, and we'll explain this more, I'm trying to not give away too much for next week's class, because next week will be about spam and scam calls and how to detect these things. But when you create an account and let's say put in a new password for a new app, you expose yourself to vulnerability because anybody can get hacked. Any of these companies, doesn't matter how big, how small, theoretically will get hacked at some point. So by leaving different passwords, it allows for a potential scammer to be able to take your data here. If you happen to have the same password somewhere else, they can log into your information there, or they can try to backtrack and reset your email password to try to get access to that. So by using this, when somebody goes to take the data from, let's say Facebook gets hacked and they're taking Facebook's data, they won't have access to your password because Facebook doesn't even have your password. So it's like a double blind. So the app won't have access to your password, and then you won't have to use a password to sign in, which is convenient. Who wants to memorize 50 different passwords when you can just sign in with one? Was that clear? Yeah.
Apple has a Facebook identification. Is that safe to use?
Face identification, yes, that is very safe. We'll go over that next week, but biometric security, which is any detail of your body, so like fingerprint scans, retina scan, or facial scan, are very secure because you only have your face. Nobody else will be able to access it but you. Yes?
Maybe this is next week, but I get almost every day 3, 4, 5, 6 spam calls, and I am with Google, So how does one stop that, or is there a way to do that?
Yes, I mean, I shouldn't say yes. That was too much of a guarantee.
About the number, but it's so welcome.
Yeah, and that's one thing. We'll talk about it next week. I'll explain why that's the case, where you block it and there's another number coming up. Unfortunately, it's an issue where it's just hard to predict because spam callers have a way of like, they can call you with one number, hang up. When they pick up the phone again, it's a completely different number. And so as the FCC, which is in charge of trying to maintain all of the, all telecommunication issues, but then also specifically spam calling. If every single time a spammer can change their phone number, 3 times in a minute, how would you be able to track that? So they try to look for common numbers, and then if they feel like it's around, like if it's it could fall under a spam. If it seems like a number that's been frequently calling other people, then you'll get a notification on your phone saying maybe spam likely, or could be spam. Like they'll notify you, and that's actually a policy that they implemented in 2019 to just try to mitigate the amount of people that would be scammed. So, but yeah, there are some other factors, things that you can do, but we'll discuss that more next week. That's a good question, though. Now, we're going to talk about the cloud briefly, and you can also follow along with the handout here. So, the cloud is a remote service that backs up and stores your information in real time. This allows you to easily retrieve it outside of your phone storage or from a completely different device. This diagram can give you a good example, but I would even, and I remember your suggestion to have a pointer, but I was like, they're pricey at Best Buy, but, so for cloud computing, mainly as it pertains to you and your devices, you'll just imagine this here, this in here, this will be the cloud, and then all of these right here, so your storage, mobile, and applications on other devices would be able to access server and database, which, for all intents and purposes, servers and databases just house all your information. They're these giant warehouses that are just whirring 24/7 and just store information live. It's you can access the website because the server is live. If that server was off, you wouldn't be able to access the website. Facebook, you might see like the dystopian sci-fi movies that had there was one with like a robot with a giant eye. I forget which one of them, but that's kind of like what the server is. Just like it's a physical item. It can also be virtual, but for the most part, it's physical first and then becomes virtual. Does that make sense?
It makes very good.
Yeah. So basically, every website you access, every application is from a server. There's a physical device that is on 24/7 running that allows you to access it. Your phone will connect to this physical server and then give you the information based on the server. If the server was off, you couldn't go on Facebook.com. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't go anywhere. So there's a physical property that's always on, that's always providing you information that you can access. This same server can also store different information. So in the case of iCloud is a server that's on 24/7. It's just running, and so you can store your information to the server just through the internet, and that way, let's say you no longer have the same mobile, or let's say you have the same mobile, you also have your iPad, right? So your mobile is connected to the server, and your iPad is also connected to the server. So now your pictures can be displayed on both because they're both stored here instead of being stored individually by itself. That makes sense? I also have an analogy here. So I say, so your phone is like a photo album or a filing cabinet, right? It can only hold so much. But the cloud is like a post office where you can just send your photos, your messages to the post office. And let's say they kind of like duplicate it, right? They can make copies of it, like a physical post office. Post office can make copies of it, of your photos, of your information. You can always go back and retrieve it from there because like they just have that storage. I have a video as an example that hopefully explains it a little bit. I saw it and I was like, wait, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like another good example is like when you plug something in, that offers the connection, but in this case, it's virtual. So when you connect to Wi-Fi, that's kind of like the physical plug, and that is what allows you. So if you're not connected to Wi-Fi, you don't have data. A lot of times, if you try to search something up, it says like cannot connect to server or something like that, for example. So it's kind of just like a virtual plug that allows you to access everything and gives
Yes.
you the power to do so.
Yeah, yes, a very good point. So that's Wi-Fi is necessary for the cloud, or else cloud doesn't work. So this is an episode of the Cabanero effect, and it explains it pretty well. I hope I have enough Wi-Fi to play it all, but we'll see.
Software from different grocery stores, so you can make your list anywhere you want. It uses one little microchip. You haven't seen the TV commercial for these? No. Really wild stuff. It uses one little microchip right there. It's very light, so you can take it anywhere you want. It incorporates software from different grocery stores.
Okay, so right here, he's trying to sell the IntelliFridge, and you'll see what it can do in a little bit, but he's telling him you can make your lists, you can make your list right on the fridge, which is kind of crazy. This was, I think, maybe 10 years ago. You can do that on fridges now. You can, like the smart fridges, you can make a grocery list that'll go to your phone and then go out and check with the contents of your fridge or what have you. But this is before that, and he's a magician. He does magic tricks, and you'll see the trick come up pretty soon.
So you can make your lists on the front of it, like look, you enter, and let's say you're picking produce. Who makes this Intel? It's a different company. Look, we're under produce now. So if you put grapes, celery, and see how it fills up the fridge a little bit, and tells you how much will actually fit in there. Go ahead, pick a few things until it fills up. Anything you want. Orange juice, milk, and beer. That sounds like a good deal. Yeah, orange juice, milk, and beer. All right, so you see the fridge gets filled up 100% right there. Because when you sync it, this is what's insane. It actually syncs through the cloud. As long as it's not overfilled, you can see the fridge is getting filled up with your selections. Yeah, sync, complete, enjoy. So then we have, everything we ordered, it will download from the cloud. Oh, wait a minute. This wasn't there before? Well, that's what we picked, right? Yeah, you pick beer, orange juice.
That's not true.
No, it's not.
All right, it doesn't seem to be loaded, but you get it, right? Like, he picked the items from the list, and then the items appeared within the fridge. This, of course, is a magic trick. There's probably like a trap door in the back, and they're just loading the supplies while he's doing it. But the same theory applies. So he synced with the cloud, and then the items were able to be physically obtained on the IntelliFridge. Same deal with your phone and the cloud. You sync with it's not magic, it's a physical server that's somewhere far away, but you sync with that, and then you're able to get your items right right on your device. Does that hopefully explain things? Or?
Yeah, it's not something you have to think about a lot. It's just good to know because a lot of times, especially companies will mention the cloud or you hear about it. So it's good to just kind of know what it is, but it's not something you have to think about every day. It's kind of just in the background of the phone. And it's what allows you to use a phone or a tablet.
Yeah. If you have any questions, we could or actually, you can also refer to the description here. There's an analogy that can also help to explain it, but you could also let us know too, and we'll explain further.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Very simple, basic.
Yeah.
When you say it's somewhere else, means where?
Yeah, like so.
Where is it? Anywhere?
It could be in Arizona. Mostly, like they're in these big warehouses where there's like towers and towers of servers, and all they do all day is just stay on. That's the only thing they do. And as long as they're on, we have access to whatever website.
Yeah, it's kind of just a big warehouse. They're usually like these giant black like towers, and they have like computers inside them, and they're constantly on, and there's a lot of wiring. Some movies show them pretty
Yeah.
well, or TV shows, but they're really just it's just these huge warehouses with these racks of just computers and wires and blinking lights because they're on at all times.
So they're operated by, only by computers?
By computers, yep. And then there's people that kind of maintain them, making sure that they're on all the time. They get paid a lot of money to do that. Yeah.
Is there security at these clouds that you're talking about?
Security,
The warehouses?
and then security, and also like just the IT. So any sort of just like maintenance work, like there's somebody there to just make sure that they're always running.
Yeah, for like servers that have high security, like any like government run websites that have servers, those are very well protected.
Yeah.
Because they understand the information can leave many people vulnerable.
Mhm.
So there's never really been any breaches for physical servers or for important information.
Mhm.
Because it's very difficult to do and people just don't even attempt it.
Yeah.
Are there backup servers?
Yeah.
So a lot
So
of times they do.
yeah, a lot of times. So
Yeah, a lot of times servers do actually go down,
Mm.
and it's because something happened with the physical computer, so sometimes they have to replace it or work on it. So they have backups, especially for the bigger ones that they have millions of people using it per day, because then they'd be losing business. So they have a lot in place to make sure everything's working at all times.
it's like a show that's always going on, the live show that's constantly going on. The update is sometimes the update might not work and they revert it. So, but all of that is happening in real time.
There's more than one, right?
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, so like you could think about it like even YouTube. The video that I retrieved from YouTube came from YouTube servers, which is probably somewhere in Pasadena. And so I got it from there because, like Tegan was saying with the plug analogy, my Wi-Fi connection plugged into their servers virtually, and then I was able to retrieve that information from their cloud, and that's what allowed me to play the video.
I think there are some server locations that they don't even say where they are,
Yeah.
too. I think you can kind of guess which state they're in, maybe, but a lot of times they don't even say where the location of the servers actually are.
Yeah.
It's not public information.
Yeah. Like some could be in Montana, and the company could be based in California. That's how important keeping the security of the servers are. But yes, I'm glad everybody's interested in the cloud because it's a very important feature, and it's how the world is operating now. So apps, as we mentioned before, apps, which are short for applications, are programs that can be run on phones or other devices. They're typically made by individual companies, as I said before, and offered through the App Store on iPhones and Google Play for Androids, as well as Samsung for Samsung phones, Samsung Store. So different types of apps include, but they're not limited to, lifestyle apps, social media apps, utility apps, games and entertainment apps, health apps, and news apps. These apps can also, these are just themes that we set up for apps, but they can blend within one another. Like let's say Pinterest. Pinterest, are you guys familiar with the app Pinterest? So it's basically like it's intended to be like a sort of a drawing board. It shows you different ideas for if you're creative. If you're somebody who like knits or crochets, you can get inspiration for ideas by going onto Pinterest. That would mix in between with social media and lifestyle. So like, not one category of app is limited to it. They can blend within each other. So some examples of lifestyle apps, Duolingo. It's a free, interactive, and fun language learning app that can help you learn over 40 languages at your own pace. So if you've ever been interested in learning a new language, that's a very useful app to have. It's free, for the parts of the application is free, but then they have subscription programs that allow you more access to the device. And as we go along, we'll discuss the different ways of paying for or the different transactions that you may have within an application, because depending on the app, it may differ. But subscription is one where, or freemium, I should say, is one where an app, the access to an app is free, but then certain features are blocked behind a paywall. So that Duolingo would go as a freemium app.
I
Yeah.
have a question. So when you click on one of these, how do you know you're not bringing a virus into your cell phone or iPad?
If you download it through the App Store or the Play Store, then you'll know you're not bringing a virus because the stores are checking for that when a developer uploads the app onto the platform.
Yeah, all the apps that you are found on the Play Store, and like whatever app you have on your phone, depending on what type of phone you have, they're verified. The only thing where you could get into some trouble is a lot of the apps have ads. So if you were to click on a certain ad, those ads aren't verified the same way. So you just have to be careful about if you click on an ad, you could get taken to a different location, like a website, and that might not be safe. The app itself is safe, you just have to be careful of the ads, and if you're brought to a different website or...
Which brings me to, there's been a lot of identity theft in Shrewsbury.
Mhm.
Is that how the identities are being stolen from us?
There are a few different ways. We'll discuss in next week's class. I think that's going to be because it's been brought up a few times, but a lot of the answers with that will be discussed in next week's class, but there's plenty of different ways. That could be one, like let's say you were lured to an application and you thought like maybe it looked like it was Facebook, but it was actually Facebook, and you downloaded that and you put in your Facebook information. That's one way they can retrieve it. But that's a longer process. A lot of times they'll just, there's hackers that are constantly trying to hack companies. That's the more than likely way that you'll get your information taken, but not from just general usage of the app.
Yeah, if you download Duolingo and you put in like your name, like date of birth, that stuff, that you're not giving it to someone who's going to use it in a bad way. But if the company were to get hacked, then your information could be vulnerable. But just downloading and using it isn't a risk. And most of the times, a lot of times when companies do get hacked, it's very limited, and it's not usually too much of an issue.
Like they might just have your email, or like they won't have core information like your social security. They might just have your email, and then try to contact you so that you can give them the rest of the pieces so that they can finish stealing your identity.
And you can also tell by the apps you're using, like Duolingo is never going to ask you for your social security number. They'll probably ask you for your first name, your last name, maybe your date of birth, maybe where you're from, trying to build a profile of you based off language, but they wouldn't ask questions like that where it would have no relevance to actually using the app.
That's a very good point. And then let's see if anybody remembers. Let's say Duolingo asks you to type in a password, but then they also have an option to sign in with Google or Apple. Should you go with that option, or should you create a password?
No.
No, you said no password? That's correct, yeah. Sign in with the third-party sign-in because it's secure. You're making a double blind. Duolingo won't have your Google password, and then you won't also have to enter a password to Duolingo. You can just click a button and sign in.
It also makes managing all your accounts a lot easier because you know it's your Google account rather than having a lot of different passwords that you have to remember, and a lot of times everyone forgets the passwords when they have that many.
Absolutely, absolutely. The next one is Evernote. Evernote is a note-taking and task management app. You can create notes with embedded photos, audios, and saved web content. The notes are saved in virtual notebooks and can be tagged, annotated, edited, searched, and exported. So it's very nice for anybody who is, I like it on an iPad in particular. If you have a wide enough space where it kind of mimics a notebook. And so you can kind of move things around like sticky notes, but it's all virtual. And another thing, it's on the cloud. So you can access it on your iPhone if you don't have a chance to input the information on your iPad. So it's very, very neat application to have. And then we have Instacart, which allows you to schedule groceries right to your door from the comfort of your home. So that one is one I highly recommend, especially if we end up being due for a blizzard. It could be a useful app if that coincides with when you usually go shopping for your deliveries. Instacart for a delivery fee on top of your regular grocery fees. Somebody will be able to deliver your groceries right to your home.
A lot of stores too do something where you can like order the food and they put it together, but you can go pick it up at the store. They have a lot of different options, and then each store has their own app. The reason why the apps are really good sometimes is because they have coupons that are only available on the apps. So even if you don't use it, they're good apps to just have because you can see if there's a coupon you want, and it's an easy way to save money because especially nowadays, there are some coupons they only have them on the app, so that's the only way to find them and to get them. So that's something people can really take advantage of.
Yes. And then lastly, we have Senior Match. It's a sophisticated dating app tailored to seniors, has a line of questions to help you find like-minded individuals. So it's a useful app if you're looking out there for somebody. Senior Match is one as well. Any questions on lifestyle apps? All right, then we're going on to utility apps. The first one is a magnifying glass and flashlight combo. It's a great app that improves visibility when out in places like restaurants or reading. You can turn on your flashlight, but at the same time, magnify to see menus. It works really well with paper menus, not so well with laminated ones, but it's very, very useful to have. Sometimes the restaurant can be dimmed, the lights can be very dim, so you'll need that extra boost to be able to see what's on the menu.
Does it work on medicine, whether you get the medicine from
Yeah.
that pharmacy?
Mhm.
It's so small.
That's true, yeah. It does work on that too.
That level also works?
Yeah, it will. So you'll be able, once you download the app, you can press it and then it'll turn on your flashlight, but then also zoom in so that you can see.
So that's the app. So on phone, I have to connect with that app.
You have to download the app, yes.
Okay.
You can also zoom in on pictures, like if you had a picture or something, you can zoom that in. So there's a couple different ways you can do it to improve. There's that app, or you do it through pictures. But that app is good because it combines the zoom in feature with the flashlight at the same time.
But that's actually a more convenient way. Like if you take a picture of the print, and then zoom in with your phone. Remember this so you go like that with the picture, then you'll be able to just read it from your phone instead, which may be a lot easier than downloading the app and using it. There's also Speechify, which takes words on the screen or in print and then speaks them out loud. So it's useful for anybody who may be visually impaired, which we'll have a gentleman come in for the last class to explain a lot of different accessibility features for the visually impaired. But that's one where it'll be able to read out loud things that may be in text form. Uber and Lyft are both ride-sharing applications that allow you to take taxi rides around the city. They're not exactly taxis. They're individuals that are vetted by Uber to be able to deliver you to your destination. So it's a very, very good app to have nowadays because there's a lot more Uber drivers than taxi drivers today. So, and then we have Cough Drop, which is a great alternative communication app that is useful for those who may have disabilities related to speaking. It allows for buttons that can be used quickly to say common phrases. So like if you look at the app, you might have like a few different buttons ready to go. One for maybe if somebody rings the doorbell, you can press a button to say who's there if you're not able to say audibly. So you can create a list of preset buttons to be able to speak.
And that's available in the App Store, the cough drop,
Say it again.
the cough drop?
Is available on the App Store?
Yes.
Yes.
And is that a free one or not?
Say it again.
Is that a free one that comes?
No, Cough Drop is paid, and that's a great question. So but this is, I believe it's a one-time fee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you pay it one time and then you'll have access to it forever, which is rare nowadays. Nowadays, they'll try to get you on a subscription.
Yeah, and when you're in the App Store, it's very easy to tell whether or not the app is free or if you have to pay for it. Almost all apps are free, and it'll tell you that. The apps you do have to pay for actually list where you'd press install, list the price tag, and you'd have to go through a process. So you would never accidentally install an app that you would have to pay for.
Mhm.
So that's not something you have to worry about.
Yeah. So now some game and entertainment apps. With this one, we can talk about another way that a lot of these companies sort of,
I'm just getting back.
no worries.
It's this cough drop, you know.
Yeah.
It's speech impairment.
Yes.
You may know or you may not know, but is it covered by insurance?
Oh, very good question. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't
Yeah.
know. There are some apps that are though. There is a hard of hearing app, like for those who are deaf or hard of hearing.
Visual impairment, you have that
Yeah.
something, you know.
And I'm sure there is for,
Speechify.
yeah,
So this is also cough drop.
it's for like the mute or speech impaired.
Yes.
I'm not sure if it's covered, but I do know like certain apps can be. Like for the hard of hearing app, I think it's InnoCaption. It might be InnoCaption, it might be, oh, no, it's Clear Caption. That, once you put in your information, it'll check if you're on any government assistance, and once it sees that you are, you'll be able to use that app for free. And that allows you to, let's say you're in a room, you can turn the app on, and then any conversation will be turned into text. It uses AI to translate it into text. And then same case when you make a phone call, if you can't hear, it'll turn the other party's conversation into text. That way you can read what they're saying and respond in a timely way.
So when you are saying that I'm in this room and I have hearing impairment,
Mhm.
and if I push that button on my app,
Yeah,
I will be able to hear what
you'll be able to read what's going on.
read.
Yeah.
What you speak, it will come.
Yes. Yep.
It's kind of like live captioning.
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah.
phone, the microphone's on, and then it turns it into
Yeah.
to words.
Hmm.
Very nice.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but some are covered by insurance, so that is
Yeah.
or if not by insurance, there are some.
Ways to be eligible to be able to use it for free.
Yes, yes. So games and entertainment apps. Words with Friends, that's a good one. It's a social Scrabble game that you can play with friends all over the world. So it's a great way to reconnect with friends and kind of keep a bond going for a long period of time. Maybe you guys don't talk all the time, but you guys could at least play Words with Friends together. Chess, you can play in a virtual chess community where you can learn strategies and also get AI generated feedback on your matches. So if you ever wanted to improve your chess skills, that's a very good application to use. Wordscapes is a mini crossword game that has daily challenges and levels that can stimulate you. And then there's Luminosity. This app comes with games designed to stimulate your memory and improve how quickly your brain moves through certain processes. You can look at the app's analysis of your gameplay to understand your cognitive patterns and decide what to trade. Now, Luminosity, it falls under just a subscription-based application. So in order to use the app, you have to subscribe, I think it might be $9.99 a month, in order to get access to all of the Luminosity features. Words with Friends, and actually I don't know about Words with Friends, but I know Wordscapes. They are complete, they're not completely free. They're free, but then they have in-app purchases. So some games have in-game currencies that you can exchange for real money that'll allow you to access different benefits within it. That, like Tegan was saying, it's pretty hard to make a purchase unwillingly. Like they'll confirm some sort of information with you prior to making that purchase, so you won't have to worry about that. But for the most part, if you see an app and it's like totally free, more than likely, or even if they start out free, more than likely they're making money from ad revenue. You know, they might make 0.005 cents per ad played, but if 1 million people are downloading the app and playing the, playing the ad or playing the game, that can quickly generate to a lot of money. So that's one way to indicate, like, okay, this app is for the most part free, or like you'll get some good usage out of it, is if you see ads, because then you know that they're getting income outside of just the premium content that they're spending.
Yeah, some apps too, you can install for free, but you can't use it all until you pay for it. Some apps you can use for free, but they have like a premium subscription where you get more access to stuff like Duolingo. But yeah, ads are the big one. Some games also, especially, they have like subscriptions where you can pay to remove the ads from the game. So it's more just based around like ads and always buying additional things. But for the most part, apps are normally free.
It seems to me that a lot of the games like Words with Friends and Wordscape are not accessible unless it's through Facebook. Is that not true?
No, Facebook may host certain games. That's true. Especially that's how it started out. A lot of these apps, they were only available through Facebook, but now they're also standalone apps as well, and they'll allow you to just connect your Facebook account to them.
Through the App Store?
Through the App Store, yes.
So yeah, so you go into the App Store, install the app, and then once the app is installed, you go into the app. And a lot of times there's a feature where, like you said, you can connect to Facebook. It's usually a blue button with the Facebook symbol. It's like a little bar, and then you can click on that, and it will like sync your Facebook to the app, and it connects you with like your Facebook friends. So you'd be easier access to be able to play with them.
Well, that's a very good point. That a little bit of history. A lot of some standalone games started off being like in Facebook, and then became their own places. I remember early in the days there was like a Farmville, I think was one, where like you can farm within Facebook, and then that became its own standalone application. But back in, I guess, like 2013, that's how a lot of these apps started, maybe 2012, 2013.
And there's actually games and text messages too. I know for the iPhones, in the iMessage app, they have something called like Game Pigeon, where you can send a text message, but it's a game. So whoever you're texting, you can play the game back and forth. And they have multiple different games. Some of them are actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, do some of the newer Androids have that too?
I haven't seen it. Yeah, I haven't seen it. It's always been a feature that I envied iPhones for. They always had that.
So where do you get this game message?
So it's in the text message. You go into iMessage, for example. Let me make sure I'm explaining it right. And then so when you're texting someone, for example, there's like, you send the text message bar, and to the left there's like a plus symbol. You click on the plus symbol, and you go to like more options, and there's something called Game Pigeon. And then what you can do is you can send a game as a text message, and if the person accepts it, then you start playing that game together. And they have a few different games. I'm not sure how many, but it's a good amount, and they're just kind of like fun things to do.
So that's a different app, or it comes under?
It's under the iMessage app, so it's kind of like synced with something, but it's through iMessage, so you don't have to install anything, because iMessage, if you have an iPhone, is already on the phone.
So this is in your settings? Is this where you find it? You go on your phone?
No, you just go in, so if you have an iPhone, you'd go into the text messaging app, and you'd go to, instead of sending a text message, there's a plus symbol next to the text message.
Okay.
You'd click on that, then you'd press on more, and then there's an option that gives you a bunch of different options, and Game Pigeon is one of them. And if you click on that, it'll show you the list of games, and then you can select which one, and then send it as a text message, and you can play the game with the person, the contact that you're trying to send the message to.
But that's through the text messenger?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So that's all for games. That's a actually a fun aspect of it. So if you ever want to be creative and surprise one of your friends, send one of those. If you have an iPhone, then you'll definitely surprise them. So these are some health apps. You know, the Apple Health and Samsung Health, I think are pretty ones that you can get familiar with if you care about checking on your health on a day-to-day basis, certain aspects of it. Same with MyChart. But let's start with the top. Headspace is a popular meditation and mindfulness app that offers guided meditation sessions, mindfulness exercises, and sleep exercises. This is a subscription-based app, but they have a wide amount of resources that you get access to once you sign up that can help with a multitude of different mindfulness and meditation features. Apple Health and Samsung Health, they provide many health-related functions at the touch of your phone, including heart rate monitor, activity tracking, calorie intake, sleep monitor, and more. Especially if you use a smartwatch in conjunction with it, you can do a lot of different things. You can track your sleep patterns. You can track your stress. You can track your heart rate. You can track your steps. So it's a good way to kind of just grasp how you're doing overall, and so it's definitely a useful function to have.
Yeah, and nowadays you don't even have to install them because they, whether or not you have an Apple or Samsung phone, they pre-install it so it comes with the phone. So the app's most likely already on your phone, and I think almost all of the features are free. I don't think you actually have to pay to use any of it.
Yeah.
It just comes with the phone, and it's just a matter of how you use it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a home visit from doctor.
Exactly, yeah. And speaking of home visits for a doctor, I guess we could go into MyChart real fast here. MyChart is a very useful app. I would highly recommend it. If anybody doesn't have it that's in this room, I would highly recommend getting MyChart. It's an essential health app that allows you to communicate with your medical providers as well as have access to your health records at the touch of a button. So, you know, you can literally speak to your primary care provider, and then let's say you're having an issue, you feel like a little ache in your leg, you can shoot a message to your doctor. They can go and check, okay, you know what, I noticed that we haven't filled this prescription, would you like to fill it? And that's real time, as opposed to having to make an appointment, which can take forever. So MyChart definitely gets you quick health results.
A lot of offices are starting to require it too, so it's definitely an app that you should have, or at least think about getting soon.
Yes. And then we have MyFitnessPal, which provides similar health functions to Samsung or Apple Health, but it's available on both platforms. So this one's useful if you happen to have different devices. It does the same thing as Samsung Health or Apple Health. And then Calm is similar to Headspace, where it provides guided support through interactive videos and lessons in the field of sleep, mindfulness, and stress relief. And that is also a subscription-based application. And then we have news apps. So we have AARP Now, which provides the latest news in the world of senior health, finance, and legality and safety. You can access benefits to your membership as well as see events near you. So it's a nice app to have. Inkle, which is world news that is curated from many news sources straight to your phone for a monthly fee. But it also allows you to read articles for free, so it's like a freemium application. You know, nowadays if you go to read an article, they'll have you, like, you read maybe 2 paragraphs and then they'll stop you to say to pay for the full thing. Yeah, this is one where you won't have to do that. You can read an article all the way through.
Are these subscriptions, all of these?
AARP Now, I don't believe is a subscription. No, it's not a subscription. That's free. And then it's also, like, if you have a AARP card, it's tied to your benefits too, so you can see those. Inkle is free, but they have a premium version, which allows you a lot more access to the app, but you can still read articles that they have on there for free. So it's like a freemium option. Newsbreak is free. It comes by default for many Android phones. It provides you local news that is updated constantly throughout the day, so you can get the latest on everything regarding your region. This app is notorious for bombarding your phone with notifications. So especially with this, if you're somebody who, if you scroll down from the top of your page and you see like hundreds and hundreds of notifications, it's probably good to check this and either delete it or also block it from notifying you.
Yeah, use the settings to disallow notifications.
Yeah, just for peace of mind.
The Inkle or Newsbreak, do they check to see if it's fake news? Like news check?
So typically they provide it from sources that are like, that they vet, like they're constantly going to the same sources. So I wouldn't say they're like fake sources. A lot of times you can read right below, like they'll say whatever the title of the article is, then they'll say where the source is from, and so then you can kind of tell from there. Sometimes they may pull something from like a source that is like daily let's see, like daily oil advocate something, and then you can know there's some bias towards it. But like for the most part, you'll be able to kind of see what your sources are and be able to vet from there.
Are they pulling from actual articles, or are
Yeah.
they, so it's not AI where they generate, they
No.
composite information?
No, and that's actually a great point. So no, they're basically taking a compilation of different articles and then feeding it to you based on your preferences.
And another thing too is we've just been giving a few examples from each category. There's countless number of apps. For news, for example, almost every organization has an app, from the local to the world level. Like you can get the Worcester Telegram and Gazette, they have an app. You could do CNN, Fox News, the BBC World News. There's an app for every place. So it's just a matter of what you're interested in and what you want. And there's probably an app for it, and you just have to search for it and then install it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's everything. Any questions? Thank you for attending class 2. Like we said, next week's class will be about spam and scam prevention. So a lot of the questions that you guys had today, we will answer in next week's class. And in the meantime, though, don't forget, we do one-on-one support. So if you have any issues with any of your tech, feel free to give us a call at this number, and then ask for the Tech Connect program, and then you'll be forwarded to us, and then we can schedule a visit with you all for any additional support.